up, YouTube? I am your host, Mediocre, the tour reviews and reviews. Back in here with one more video. Shout out to my Instagram. That's where this video was just sent to me. At Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews. It's long, but you know how to spell. If you don't, link down in the description box down below. When I originally got this sent to me, the subscriber said something like, I think I found another panderer. And then linked the video. So we must get active. Title of the video, my problem with the phrase, the modern woman can't keep a man. Without further ado.
The phrase is, the modern woman don't know how to keep a man. First of all, most relationships end because the woman leaves.
Sure.
How are you going to say a woman can't keep a man if it's the woman that decides to end the relationship? If anything, modern men don't know how to keep a woman.
Okay. Okay. First off, listen, I'm getting Jaxn vibes right now. So we'll go off into the reaction real quick. Let me tell you guys something from my perspective. It's really hard when you come across these videos and they speak in these large generalities. Hopefully he gets into specific examples to let me know exactly what it is that he's talking about. Now, from a marriage perspective, let me just say this real quick, is that what I think actually happens, and there's a multitude of reasons that lead to divorce, but when you're considering someone who, by and large and in mass, is the breadwinner, right? The person who is not the breadwinner is not as incentivized to keep it together, okay? They're not as incentivized because they know if they step out and they leave, they get a paycheck at the end of it. But that's getting way too specific, but let's get down into what the brother's saying.
And this is where we're at in this society. What happens is we tend to blame women for everything, even leaving an unhealthy, toxic, or unsatisfactory relationship.
No one blames women for leaving a terrible relationship. What are you talking about? If it's terrible, then yeah, leave. No one has ever said that since the history of ever. But I think what happens here is that his women viewers hear something like that. And, yes, boo-boo and honey child. Whoops. Yes, boo-boo, you right. They hated me so much. They just didn't understand the pain that I was going through. They just didn't understand. I am a modern woman. I shouldn't take any of this shit because I amount to so much more. Meanwhile, she's a 4.
Somehow it's her fault. Somehow she's less than a woman because she can't keep a man even though she didn't want to keep him. How can you tell and say, well, you don't know how to keep a man when she decides she doesn't want him anymore? That's the difference. And I think we need to put more onus on men, because what has happened since the 1950s and 60s is an adjustment that needed to be made by both sexes. But what hasn't happened is the adjustment for men.
I just can't get, so the more that I do videos like this, the more I'm starting to understand how these content creators get so popping with women. They just say this, they just say anything that they want to appeal to the emotional complex of women, right? Like, because I feel like dudes who generally try to look at things outside of the box with a much more logical approach, right? Like, dudes can't generally create content and talk like he's talking. They generally cannot do that. They generally can't. And a large majority and reason for that is because we like to pick shit apart, right? Now, it's not to say that there's no content creators over on this side of YouTube that appeals to the emotional well-being of a lot of dudes, but he's setting up all of this very false strawman arguments. Like, no one is saying or blaming women for leaving bad relationships, bad toxic relationships. What does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with anything? It's at the basis of this, it sets up these very disingenuous arguments that no one is saying, but it appeals to the emotions of the listener, who makes it feel like it is their situation. And they're so good at it. Let's keep it moving.
We had men still expecting the same type of woman, the same type of relationship expectations as the 1960s and 50s, when it's not the same type of lifestyle. It's not. So there's adjustments that need to be made.
Listen, men back then and men today expect feminine, fit, cooperative, and a bunch of other things. Low body count, attractive. Men are not expecting anything different today. So what is it that you are talking about?
Understand something. Your woman would love to, well, not love, but in theory, most women would love to be at home and not have to pay a bill, not have to worry about contributing to family vacations, not worrying about how to fix a car, not worried about how to handle things that come up. Most women would absolutely love that. Absolutely love that.
Okay.
But that's not the reality for most women. We got a 1,000 women that is watching right now. Ladies, comment below. How many of you guys have ever been in a relationship where you didn't have to contribute at all to the situation? How many women have been in that situation? Not many.
But here's the thing, right? So, I hear his point too. Is what he's saying is that through inflation, much more relationships today need to have two incomes in order to sustain this thing in the world, right? and I get that point, right? Like back in the day, you know what I'm saying? You could be able to work at a car plant up in Detroit, Michigan, and have a decent sized home, 2 kids and a dog and wife, and be able to maintain all of those on one income and one salary. I understand that point, my G. However, here's where I think that the straw man is. The things that I mentioned before that modern men are expecting of modern or more traditional based women has not changed. It has not changed. There's not anything to say that she can't go out and make a fantastic living for herself, but she still has to give those other factors to be selected past the relationship, right? From dating into a relationship or from a relationship into marriage. Dudes have not changed from that perspective, right? There's not dudes walking around mostly and in mass that are saying, hey, I make less than you. You do most of the work. And I'm sitting on this couch all day, but I still expect not to do the task back at home. That by and large is not men in general. That's not men in general. Shit. You know what it is just like, media like this and content like this, it goes above and beyond to paint men as some tyrannical society. So I get why women watch stuff like this and then they go and complain about the patriarchy. Like, I get it now, right? So if you continue to consume only this portion and it makes it seem like men are tyrannical or it's so unfair and their expectations are so high. I just told you the couple of quick things that we are expecting up from a woman in order to be selected into something into the future, right? I told you all of those things. So like, it's not complicated. It's not complex. Why do we try to make it so complicated? And make it seem like men are oppressing women or suppressing them from choices, decisions, or actions, and then blaming them for the reason that relationships go wrong. Man.
It's not the modern reality. And that's the problem. It's not the reality for most women. The reality is when you get in a relationship, especially in 2021, you're going to have to contribute in some way financially. Right?
Okay.
So we have women that have grown into that. And inflation since the 1960s have made it to where sustaining a household on one income is almost impossible.
Yeah.
Right?
It's very difficult.
Right? And so women have graciously stepped into that role and saying, you know what? I'm going to go into the workforce. I'm going to help contribute.
Okay.
I'm going to adjust. But men on the same token have not done that. We have not sat down and said, you know what? We have to adjust what we give to relationships to match the energy that she is. So now that I'm not taking care of the household bills exclusively like myself, I have to bring other dynamics to the relationship. Now I have to contribute more in the domestic responsibilities of the household. Now I have to learn how to cook and clean sometimes. Now I got to learn how to do the laundry. I have to learn how to contribute in areas and adjust what I define as the masculine role inside the relationship.
Yo, are we really having a discussion as if the majority of dudes that are in modern relationships are just not taking over cooking and cleaning as time is provided? Is that what really the discussion is? can we quantify the amount of modern relationships between a modern man that's working and a modern woman that's working, that the modern woman is in a relationship and she's just coming home for work and the house is completely awry and messed up because the modern man refuses. He just wants to go into the workplace and refuses to cook, clean, There should be roles. I've had women sit right here that say that they're in a modern relationship. And they said that, there's some give and some take, there's some push and some pull. There's communication within that in order to make it work. If that's not what's happening and you're being modern, going into the workplace, and your man, you come back home and he's not doing any of the shit at home, then just leave the situation, leave the relationship. Why is this even a conversation? Okay? Take accountability for yourself, understand what is happening, and walk away. That's it. Okay? None of the hoopla, none of the shitting on men, none of this, none of that. Take accountability for yourself and leave the situation for whatever you think that you can amount to into the future. Why is this right?
Period. Now when someone is contributing to the household financially, yes, now you have to listen and consider her thoughts and her opinions. First of all, you should do that because that's your partner. You should want to listen to what she cares about, how she feels, and get her perspective. That is your life partner. But on top of that, she is paying bills. She now has a say-so in the relationship. And some men cannot take that. You cannot take that. You say, I just want you to, trust me and let me lead, blah, blah, blah. That's what's the problem with these modern women. They want to be in control. No.
What's so interesting about this is that he sets up this modern women argument, and then he says that most women would love to just be taken care of. Okay, fine. If that's the case, then take yourself, who's probably a 8.5 and better, and go get a man that wants to just take care of you. But if you are not 8.5s and above, then you're going to have to go out and work a little bit, most likely because of the inflation rate. And if you can't find a dude to take up some of the duties that you would normally be taken up for with a man that is 100% supporting you, then go find another man. That's your own accountability. You're with a dud.
They're paying bills where they stay, so they have a say. All right, this is common sense 101. Taxation without representation. This is what the Revolutionary War was fought for, because you had people getting taxed without say-so. So how can you expect that woman who is supporting the family by contributing financially, or even if it's not in that way, in sweat equity, and now you expect her to not to have an opinion as to the direction of what the family is going to go? Now you feel like you ain't got to be considerate? Now you feel like you ain't got to take the time to chill and learn how she feels,
okay,
what she needs?
I've had enough. So guys, I think that what this does is that it shows the tactics that are used in order to entrap these ladies' minds, to keep them in a pure state of delusion. Never do we hear these content creators go over accountability in a situation. Just leave. Just leave. No one is telling you to stay. Like he's acting like he's not. And he's trying to tap into women's emotional needs of being validated for the decisions that they make or the indecisions that they make. I think a lot of us, we look at different content over the internet and we're just like, wow, like look at the delusion. But then you go and you look at content creators that continue to push delusion mixed with a hint and a sprinkle of never taking accountability for yourself. It seems to happen time and time again. You're in a situation in a modern dating relationship and both of y'all are paying the bills and he's not contributing to things around the house. Walk your ass on out as long as you feel like you can find one that can meet those needs. Simple. It's as simple as that. And that's just about it. Guys, I can't go over this video anymore. It's hurting my brain. I'll leave a link down into the description box down below for you to go off and check off the rest of the content if you do so choose. All right. Questions, comments, concerns. Y'all already know what to do. Mediocre tutorials and reviews at gmail.com. Feel free to hit me up. Got a Patreon as well. We are booming up there. You understand me? Link down in the description box down below to see all that is in store. Until next time, YouTube. Peace.